Hey guys, it's Ryan. Welcome back to another Saturday Sweets. Today we are actually making apple cider donuts. I have never made donuts at home like the real kind that you fry before, so I'm very excited about this and I hope they turn out. My mom actually sent this recipe to me and said she thought we would like to make it, so thanks to Mom. Hope they work, and I will definitely send one along to her to try. For those of you that are new here, my name is Ryan. I am a full-time working mom. I have an 8-month-old son, and my husband and I live here in the suburbs of Chicago. In these Saturday Sweets videos, you can typically find me on the weekend cooking, baking in particular, usually with my whole family. And actually today, my whole family is in the kitchen with me. The dishwasher's running, so it is going to be loud, and that's actually how I love it. I love the kitchen being the heart of our home, and make no apologies, honestly, for the noise, because I feel like if you guys are watching this, you probably are the same way. So let me go ahead and show you guys the ingredients. I will link the recipe. It's a Southern Living recipe if I haven't mentioned that before. I will link that in the description box down below. I will show you guys the ingredients and then we will get started making these. And I will also give you a taste test as well as everyone's review towards the end of the video. All right, let's get started. All right, so for this recipe, these are the ingredients you're gonna need. You are actually gonna start by reducing some apple cider on the stove. I have two because I think one is not going to cover it since it's half used. You're then gonna add in some apple butter. Again, this is mostly used, so I have a second one here, as well as some vanilla. And then for your dry ingredients, you're gonna need some all-purpose flour, some salt, you're gonna need some baking soda as well as baking powder. And then for spices on this, you're gonna need some cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice. Then for your wet ingredients for the dough, you're gonna cream together some butter as well as some shortening. You're gonna need buttermilk as well as 2 eggs. Then to actually fry the donuts, you're gonna need 64 ounces of canola oil, which is actually like 1.5 of these large ones. And then once the donuts are done, you're gonna roll them in a cinnamon sugar mixture. So let's go ahead and get started turning all of these ingredients into apple cider donuts. I am gonna have help today. My husband's gonna help me with this one, so you guys may see a guest appearance by his hands later. As always, I will link the recipe along with a link where you can purchase this magazine if you want to in the description box down below. Now the first thing you're going to do for this one is put 2.5 cups of apple cider into a saucepan and put that on medium heat so it reduces until it's about 1/3 of a cup in volume. This will take about 30 minutes. That's going to end up being the base for the liquids for the dough of the donut. While that was going, we got started on the dry portion of the mixture for the dough. This involved putting 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground allspice into a bowl, and then mixing that up until it's well combined. Next, in your stand mixer, you're going to mix 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter and 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening with 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. You're going to want to mix that until it's light and fluffy, which should take about 4 minutes. Next up, you're going to add 2 large eggs. You're going to want to beat in between these additions to make sure they get well incorporated. After that, we're going to turn our attention back to the liquid portion of the dough. You'll see in the bowl there, I have the reduced apple cider. You are then going to add 1/2 cup of apple butter, 1/2 cup of low-fat buttermilk, and 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. And then you're going to whisk all of that together until the wet mixture is combined. Then you're going to add half of your dry ingredients into the butter mixture you had in the stand mixture, then add half of the cider mixture and mix it to combine. Then you're going to add the second half of your dry mixture and then the rest of the wet mixture, and then mix that all together until all of your dough comes together. You're then going to dump the dough mixture onto a baking sheet that you lined with parchment paper and then floured generously. You're going to flour the top and then pat the mixture until it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. Once you're done with that, you're going to cover this with plastic wrap and freeze it for 15 minutes. Now, once these come out of the freezer, you're going to go ahead and cut out your donut shapes. I had to get a little bit creative here because I did not have a 3-inch round cookie cutter. I actually used the tin from a separate kind of cookie cutter that had, smaller cookie cutters in it, and I used that as my punch out for the large 3-inch circle, and frankly it worked just fine. I had no issues with this and was happy to find a substitute. So you're going to go ahead and punch out all your donuts. Obviously punch out the smaller circle. I did keep the smaller circles and fried those up as donut holes, and that worked just fine. Once you get your first donuts punched out, you're going to want to re-roll the scraps into another 3/4 inch thickness disc and then punch out more donuts. Keep doing this until you've used up all of your dough. Next up, it's the big moment. It's frying time. You're going to heat your 64 ounces of canola oil in a Dutch oven to 365 degrees. As you can see here, I had a candy thermometer on the side so I could watch the temperature of the oil. Even so, I messed around with the temperature quite a bit on these, so make sure you're just paying attention to how hot it is and how quickly your donuts are cooking. They are ideally going to cook for 3 minutes on the first side and then 1 to 2 minutes on the other side until they're evenly browned. As I mentioned, I just had to mess around with cooking times, the temperature of the oil. Kind of as these cooked, your oil temperature is obviously going to change, but just pay attention and you should be able to do this easily enough. So I went ahead and fried up all of my donuts. Once the donuts came out, I rolled them in a cinnamon sugar mixture, which was 1 cup of granulated sugar and 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon. Make sure to do this while they're still warm so that the sugar and cinnamon mixture actually sticks to the donuts. After you do that, your donuts are all done. We had so much fun making this donut recipe. As I mentioned, we have never made donuts at home, but are big donut eaters in this household. So it was so much fun to have like a fall fun project to bake all day in the kitchen, as well as then have them to eat for probably 10 days. We were eating these donuts even with giving some of them away. So I highly encourage you guys to give this a try if you've never done it at home. If you guys liked what you saw, I'm back every Saturday for a Saturday Sweets video, so go ahead and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and like if you liked what you saw here today. Thanks and have a wonderful day, everyone.